we'd all kind of walk through and everyone give their input and say, I noticed this, I noticed that, I noticed that. This space is very similar, right? So somewhere the rehab therapist needs to be attached. Somebody that knows your situation needs to be at least putting in some kind of input. The designer needs to be able to piece this together, and then the builder is part of the team, and everyone really should be working as a team to pull this all together, depending upon what your needs are, right? But it always, so my, and I know I gave you a lot of information, and I hope this wasn't like drinking out of a fire hose tonight, but I've really kind of seen this from all angles, and yes, the construction is kind of the dirty and the frustrating, and the, I thought he meant this, and it really happened like this, and how come it's like that, and it's taken too long, and da-da-da-da-da. But that's just part of construction. That's just part of the ugliness of that piece. Having the proper process in play first eliminates a lot of problems. Not all of them, but boys, it makes it a lot easier. The last thing I probably want to leave you with is this. And everyone always finds a lot of value here. This is something called the cost versus value report. Hanley Wood does this. They're a publisher of trade magazines across the spectrum. And what they've done is every year it comes out and they say, here's a list of common projects, from decks to bathrooms and kitchens and patios and kind of you name it. And what does it cost nationally? What does it cost regionally? And what does it cost in your city? So you type your information in and you put your city in, and it'll spit it out. I found over time, and again, this is by stable workforce, guys that are on payroll. They have companies that are operating
legit.
Yeah, legit. Right. So the numbers are going to be higher, right? Legit numbers. They're a little heavy, but they kind of get you in the ballpark. They kind of get you, like I go back to my friend Joe. He was not close to reality. And most families are not close to reality of what things really cost. What does it cost to staff this carpenter and all the equipment and all the insurance and everything on site for the day? And they got 3 guys here. What does that really cost? It's expensive. It's expensive. So this is something that you can look up. I have it on my tablet here. You can pass it around a little bit. But this is something, if you just type in cost versus value report 2018, it'll come up right away. So I have some cards up here. There's my contact information. So what Therese was saying earlier is we're looking to collect more stories like Tina's. And that went on for about an hour, and she just kind of went right down the line and gave some real pearls. And it kind of, it kind of hit on all sorts of topics, and we just have a very deep network of people that we know. So, we might interview Teresa, we might interview, other homeowners that have kind of lived through this, or different attorneys, and we're going to put this on, and it'll be it's kind of there'll be maybe a transcript, and you can, if you're a faster reader, you can read it, you can listen to it. It probably won't be video, probably be audio, but it'll be a free platform. There'll be some for service, fee for service things, but by and large it'll be a free service that if you want to kind of log in. If you have interest in that, and you want to sign up when it's up and it's hot and live, we can certainly make you aware of it, and I can pass it around if you have interest. If you don't, that's okay. So then I guess maybe I wanted to open this up for questions. If you had something specific for me, if you had maybe some suggestions for topics that maybe you would want to hear us cover. You have me.
I have a question.
Yeah, go.
The transition shower that you showed. What's the advantage of that versus having somebody who is going to be wheelchair mobile install a rolling shower?
Right. So
there's a lot.
Yep.
I noticed that you still had, even with the cutaway.
That's right.
You still have a lip that's like 2 or 3 inches.
About 5.
And a lot of our people who are living with ALS can't do.
They're not there. So if we go back to supervision, contact guard, min assist, right? That's our demarcation point. Transition shower is in this direction, right? A full roll-in shower, mod assist, that when it becomes complex. That's when we're moving walls, that's when we're increasing space for turning radius, that's when we're concerned about the client. We never want somebody in a wheelchair making a transfer on a wet environment, right? We always go to a shower chair. When we're mod assist, our protocol is you make the transfer to a shower chair. And a shower chair is a chair designed to get wet, and it has caster wheels underneath, and someone gives you either if you have the ability to self-propel, you self-propel. If you can't, then someone gives you a push, and that goes into that space. And you transfer on dry ground, you go into the wet environment, you shower up, you take care of business. Maybe you take that same shower chair and roll it over the toilet and take care of business again, and you do what you need to do, and then you leave the wet environment and you go back to dry and you make your transfer there. So the transfer shower, transition shower is not here.
Right.
It's here. In this direction only. Does that make
Because I
sense?
guess- Yeah, you were talking about taking all the elements of doing a modification into consideration.
Yep.
And I know how stressful it is to have someone in your home, even though you know it's gonna be a great change.
I don't know anything.
Love it when it's done.
So I might be here a little premature. I appreciate what you're saying, and I'm in your shoes.
Yeah.
So I get everything you're saying.
Yep.
To me, you're speaking my language, but that's not the language I want to hear today. I want to know what's going on with you. That's why I came here today.
And that's what we're gonna be talking about.
You know what I mean? That's what,
We're gonna be
I want to know if
talking,
everything's inside of me. Is everybody else feeling this, or am
we're
I
gonna be
alone?
talking about all that. That's normally what we do at a support group. Today we had, Frank was kind enough to come in and speak, and Simon was kind enough to come in and speak, so we were devoting some time to discuss this one particular issue. But we're going to be getting to that,
Gotcha.
absolutely, Joe.
Then everybody's worried about time, and I'm like, wait, we're gonna run out of time here.
We don't have.
No, we're
I do
like
this
that
every
bar
day.
that says two question mark, that's us.
I'm not letting him take up the whole time.
Yeah.
No, I like what
I've
you're
cut
saying,
things,
and
I've cut
I
things,
understand
yeah.
what he's saying, and somehow you look familiar to me. It's a very small Long Island. Somewhere we crossed paths once before, but that's beside the point. I just want to know what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
That's
So I
it.
guess I was just wondering if it's going to be stressful to have modifications made, does it make more sense if it's in the financial budget to go to something that you don't have to come in and break down walls and things like that? Like the transition shower looks very interesting.
Yeah.
I've never seen something quite like that. It looks very interesting. But if eventually someone is not going to be able to utilize that, does it make sense to go
So-
step here and
yep.
spend money here and
Well,
have
so
to
that's
do it
the
here
really,
and then do it again?
that's a great question. That's what I was alluding to earlier.
Right.
The financial decision, do we do this? What do we do? Do we spend all this? We got an estimate and it's $35,000 to do this. Oh my God, right? And we just got the van and what are we gonna do for this? Do we not? Do we put, so when the transition shower was designed, it was also that thought too, right? Sometimes this is a Band-Aid. And sometimes you lightly touch it. Yeah, you spend a couple dollars, but if it gets you like Teresa, Tina,
You really
For
want
three-
to reason.
for 3 years, was able to live at home.
If you want.
Was able to live at home because of this simple modification. And without it, now eventually, she knows it, that she's gonna need to rip this out, but she bought 3-4 years. She bought us a lot of time.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Great.
Is there an average size for a roll-in shower?
Yeah, so that's a good question. The defense against water going where you don't want it to go is space, is depth. It's not necessarily, well, I shouldn't say this.
Width?
It's not the width, right? So, if you've got a, right, so if this is 30 and this is 60, right? So you got 5 feet this way.
That's the standard shot.
That's your standard tub. This is not gonna, if you try to make this a roll-in, the water, even if it's pitched perfectly, that water wants to go.
Okay,
Right.
so what's the ideal size?
So at 36, you still need some kind of water barrier here, some kind of rubber gasket or
Right.
something. But I've found over the years that it's not
You could
great.
keep it in 60, then you make it.
Well, you really got to go to 42. 42 is where if someone's giving you a push, 42 inches deep, and because we're looking for this turning radius here, right? So it's 42 here becomes your minimum depth.
That's
Minimum
the
depth.
inside before
That's
you
your
start putting
inside,
the-
that's from your corner to, right, that's after you've packed out the walls and you've put your 3/4 ply in and you've done everything you need to do, right, that's at 42. 48's better, 60's ideal, but most people don't have, they really can't go and give you the 60 by 60. That's atypical.
But what if your bathroom is the size
I'm not
of
gonna-
the tub? How do you make it 40?
That's when it comes to,
Altering your house.
that what goes back to design, the discovery, diagnosis, design, then direct. We have to figure out where do we buy the space. Because, again, and I wrestle with the rehab clinics all the time. The therapist will say, just take the tub out and just make a rolling. And I'd say, you can't do that. And the therapist will say, well, why is this guy telling you this? We tell everybody that. And my eye is twitching. And then you pull up the research, go back to evidence-based design, and you pull up all the research, and all the research says 36 your minimum, you need some kind of water barrier, 42, 48, and for years I thought, we figured this out. And then I go back and start doing the research, and I said, no, I'm just proving what they've already said on paper. I say, well, let's try this, let's try 36. No, the water's still coming. I put this over here, damn it. Okay, well, we're gonna make it deeper this time, 48. And now if someone's self-propelling, if you can self-propel, you really need to be at 48 because you don't have the ability to turn. 60 is ideal. I'm sorry, pause. Sorry. If your trunk balance is not there, we have a tilt in space situation. Now the 60 has to go to 72.
Well, where are you gonna find a bathtub that big?
It's not a bathtub. It's a rolling
Well,
shower.
Yeah.
it's like this room here.
It's a
becomes-
shower.
That's your whole shower.
Oh, you're
Right.
making a room.
Well,
No, you're
it-
taking your
it all
bathroom,
depends.
your
It depends on
You're
your.
making it
It depends
large.
on your property. Depends on your property. So that's when we would come in and go through medical discovery. We diagnose the problems and we start problem solving. And say, okay. And I've seen a lot of times where families will bring us in and say, well, we want to remodel this bathroom, and I'll look at it and I say, well, show me what else you have. And we walk around the house and I'd be like, well, I like this one over here. And they say, what? I said, yeah, but look, if we do it like this, we move this over here, and we drop the floor here like this, it'll work. And I put it to paper, evidence-based design, and I can show you, boom, this is going to work. All the time. Now, they would have spent money someplace else and wasted time and money. You were next. I'm sorry. Sir.
I have in one of the bathrooms, we have a bathtub, and then we have a walk-in shower
Yeah, next to it.
next to it.
Yeah, so you got a 4-piece bathroom.
A sink,
Sink, toilet, tub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you were to take out the shower, take out the tub,
Idea.
how much,
Maybe.
then I could put it, just roll right in there. I'll have a lot of room. But what about width-wise?
Well, again, if you're tilting space, but she's petite,
Yeah.
so with size, what you're going to be in. So and how far back do we have to recline, right?
And
So, but 72 is typically this way, and 42 this way. That's typically what we're looking for. Right.
72 long.
72 long is ideal.
And how wide?
42
42
deep,
wide.
deep,
3.5 feet.
deep,
What do you mean?
deep this way.
So when you're going into it, like not wide, but when you're going into it, you wanna be that much depth.
So
Like
if we
when
come
you
in here
step
like
into the
this,
shower?
Like this would be like that.
Right.
right, and let's just say, right here is your tub, right, and here's your closets. This is your depth, typical. 60 this way, typical. This is your depth, this is your width. So what you want to see is this.
And in
That's what
Europe,
we
they
wanna
do
find.
this, in Europe, they do this a lot. They have
Well-
like a shower that doesn't have a dedicated shower space, they have a graded or
They
slanted
do.
floor.
Personally, I'm not a big fan of a wet room. We still like to be able to keep some kind of delineation where the space is. But I can tell you this too. We've done a lot of this. They don't need to look like a hospital, right? If you go to our website, frangeli.com, and look
That's
around,
really beautiful.
they're very nice, right? It's just really your taste. It's just getting the space right.
So you need 60 by 70 tub.
No, you can do 42.
42?
42, I said.
That's,
42 by 7.
right. But now here's the thing. We may come in and say, we go back to function, and then we go to the 3 budgets, and we start looking at this, and maybe there are some things that we could, we're just very creative as to how we come up with answers, because maybe your time or your financial budget don't allow this, or, but we come up with something else out of the box, right? We're always kind of thinking out here, how do we bring this in, other repurposing things,
I've done
Get it
millions
done.
of them, it's so easy.
what's that, I'm sorry?
It's a lot easier than everybody's saying. To roll right in and turn and go in depth, no water's hitting the floor, coming back out because of the pitch. It's real simple, I've done a million of them. You're on the right idea, the numbers are a little, but yeah, you're right there.
But it's so they're
So
oversized.
Standard
Well,
bathroom, no.
no.
You have to alter something.
Yeah, something has to be altered, right. But again, that's modest as this one, right? I'm sorry, somebody else had a question, sir?
Arlene, you had
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Does it matter where the drain is in the shower?
I personally like to use linear drains at the back, over here, like this. Sonny, can you get me online so I can show something?
What about dryers? Do they have dryers to dry the body?
We've had that question for
Somebody
years.
told me
I've
that.
seen
They do in
this.
China.
I've seen it.
They have it in
They
Disney
do in
World.
China, they.
Where you can
don't
kind of sit there,
have
it's like a big,
But I'm
like,
thinking you
cold.
gotta be cold
Yeah.
when that's
Yeah.
going
Like a
on.
full body dryer. Everyone is,
No.
The house that I bought
Oh,
had,
like a heat lamp?
they had heat lamps
Yeah.
But
above.
don't you get
Right,
cold?
and
Aren't
the
you
guy,
cold
because the
when
guy
you're wet?
was disabled.
Yeah.
And when you went in the room, like you turned on the light switch, the
So
heat
the
lamp
overhead
came
Yeah.
on. And the back
you're
end of
usually
the-
looking at extra heat.
It was a
You're
lot,
keeping things
and,
warm.
and then the lights start, when they get too hot, like if you're in there for too long, they turn off, then you get cold, because
I'm
they
already
start
looking at
turning
the
off.
page over
Right,
there.
not-
You can put it on a
Something
timer.
in a shower,
Right.
about
Right.
5 feet or so.
Yeah.
You stick it in the corner, and it blows warm air on you.
While
Yeah.
the shower's on?
No, when you
Oh,
put
once
it
you
down,
can-
the dry.
where have you seen that? Because
Online,
we've
I
had
look for
people
shower
asking
dryers,
for
it's under
years.
shower dryers.
Yeah,
I just
and the
installed
only
one
thing we
last
found
week.
in
They
China-
work
Oh,
great.
you know about it?
Yeah, they work great.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know where and what kind of form they could look for? Cause I had a whole
Any
bunch of
plumbing
people
supply
who-
store would have it.
Great.
Any plumbing
Right, so
supply.
see this topic right
They put 'em in
here?
every brand new apartment in Brooklyn and Manhattan, they're all over the place.
When we, so when we were on the, interviewing, Tina, she was talking about some really slick, power assist wheelchair that was inexpensive, and she'd done all the research, and I said, when we get this blog up, maybe we'll have a section for, things like this, where
This is terrific,
I-
it's one person's.
one person kind of
opinion and
knows,
another
and then,
person
and it
picks
comes
up
in,
on
and I said,
Right.
we kind of want it to be like neighbors helping neighbors, where you can
Right.
bounce and feed, because I'm not the end all, right? And I've seen a lot of this, but I don't know all.
Oh, we have a carpenter, an electrician, we can do the whole.
And we do it all the time. That's right. That's right. I don't know if you can see this or not. Let me take you to. This is a project we have going on right now in Freeport. It's a whole house renovation
We're in Freeport.
on New York Avenue.
I'm raising all the houses in Freeport.
Wait, who do you work for?
Almas and.
Oh, you work for Almas. That's where I know you from.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
you
yeah,
look
yeah,
familiar.
yeah. We'll talk.
We have the biggest state contract.
Yeah. So do we. We design most of the homes.
Who are you?
PCAT.
Oh, shit.
Yes. So this is a house. Here's a house in Freeport that was a total renovation. But I'm gonna take you into the bathroom. Let me just capture this.
What
over.
street is that, New York Avenue?
Yeah, New York Avenue. Okay, so here it is. It's being. You can kind of see it being pitched.
Yeah.
No, you can't make that. Okay.
How
Yeah.
about if I turn the lights out?
You can't make that up.
Let me go. Let me see.
Oh, that's good.
I'll say that worst case scenario.
You can see it. Okay. So it's not complete yet, right? We're still kind of in pre-finish, but you can kind of see this drain down here
Against the back wall.
against the back wall, right? You see it?
Yep. Yeah, you see a roll right in, there's no.
Yeah. You
lift.
see how we key the
There's no lift, yeah, exactly.
right. So like we got
Outside drain.
outside drain. Well, no, there's no outside. Actually, no, that's not the outside drain. No, we've got 5 feet depth in here, so all the water goes in one direction.
One direction,
Is the
yeah.
force, I don't know if it's pitched is the word
It is pitched.
Okay.
So let me come back over to here, maybe you can
You
see
can kinda
it.
see the angle on the thing, like where the change.
Yeah.
And if you look at the wall,
Wait, hang on, hang on.
Daughter of an architect over there.
Give it a
She's
sec.
expedite us. We
Okay,
got this.
you got it up.
Safe word looking.
Just can't button my pants to get to work, you know what I mean?
Okay, here, you can kind of see the pitch. Hang on, give it a second. Everything's cloud-based. Stinker. Okay, so you can kind of see the pitch coming down this way. And if you were to, if we were to go into the basement, let me see if I can. Right spot. Okay. So we're in the basement here, and what we've done is we've kind of actually dropped the floor, so that so there's no transition when it's finished outside. Everything, the bedroom and the bathroom is all kind of one level. We've dropped the shower area actually, framed it down low so we can get the pitch, so you don't see it. It's all hidden in the crawl space.
And you did a block foundation, huh?
No, this was existing. It was existing. So, you know, all this here is dropped. I mean, this is structure. I'm boring everybody except for these two guys. So, maybe Gabados over here. I don't know. Sicilians.
No, it bathroom, our bathroom, way too small.
Yeah, yeah. They usually are. They usually are.
Get him in a
Yeah,
wheelchair.
yeah. And so again, when we fix the bathroom, we go back to quality of life. Take a shower. I'd give you one last tip. A bidet. A bidet seat
that has come up in our meetings over and over again.
is the best for everybody. It's the
And that's
best.
like you just put it on top of your
So
toilet.
then this is not two separate things.
No, it's
It's
one.
a seat, right? Toto makes them. Bravi, I think, makes them. And it sits on top of the toilet, and there's a little wand when you push the button, and it sticks out, and it hoses down all the important spots, especially for the ladies. Because if we're not showering on a regular basis with hygiene issues and whatnot, and we keep getting UTIs, right? Nurses in the back, am I on point, right? I know it's a little embarrassing here, but stay out of the hospital.
Saves you a lot of paper too.
Oh, babies.
If you're green, you think you're
I
green.
tell you, I got a 6-year-old. We had a little laundry issue here with the boy. We are whistle clean now. It's great. So really, honestly, because maybe showering is a challenge, and you're not getting there 6-7 days a week, but every time you go to the bathroom, the important spot is being covered a couple times a day. That's a worthwhile investment, and it's simple. The electrician comes in, you run your home run, GFI at the bottom, you get your piece for $300-400. It's a relatively simple install, and you're in business.
And it has a dryer too, right?
It does, has a blower, but here's the key. Don't get the ones with the little control attached to the seat. It has to be remote.
Yeah.
It has to be remote. You can't have it attached
Can
to
you
the
give me
seat.
those names and give it to me and we'll pass it on?
Yeah, that's good.
Does that, I had questions with whether or not that is placed on top of a raised toiletry or a commode.
So I've wrestled with a rehab facility who I will rename nameless, and I spec this out, and the homeowner's listening to the rehab facility saying, I gotta have this 3-in-1 commode over the toilet. And I said, no, you have the bidet. Why did you spec the bidet? You spent all this money. No, I gotta have, she said this. Doesn't make any sense. Raise your toilet,
Okay.
get a comfort height, or put a block between, with an extension on the waistline, and get up higher if that's what you need. But the bidet seat, why are you gonna put this piece of garbage from here that's meant to just put your finger in the dike when you have the perfect answer? And she's listening to the clinic.
So you need to raise the toilet in one fashion or another and then put that on top of it.
Yeah.
Are you saying the bidet sits on top of the toilet?
Yeah, you get rid of, it's a seat.
And you have to raise your toilet?
If you need to, only if you need to.
You're better off.
Only if you need to. If you don't have the
Because
quad,
that's pretty high.
you could get it high, yeah, but if you need to, they have like a 4 or 5 inch block that you can then take your toilet off and put it in. Again, these are all simple things, right? Simple
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
But it goes back to function, independence, right? Caregiving, safety.
Yes,
We evaluate everything through that.
yeah.
Any other questions?
Where's the bed?
Hand out your business cards?
Yeah, I got cards here.
Yeah.
I just pass these around.
What about, stairs?
Does that have the transition?
Yeah, I put a transition, yes, in there too. Oh, and I have, what I do have here is this, if you want to see the transition shower in a goggle viewer, we can play with that, yeah. I'm sorry, somebody was asking a question?
Right here, hold on.
Stairs, yeah.
It's like we live in a split, so we have stairs,
Yeah,
stairs,
everywhere.
stairs, but they're only like
I know.
5 or 6
Yeah.
stairs.
Let me see if it's working. No, it's on.
And they're not that wide.
Yeah.
I can't see
So I can
a
walk it
stair
now?
chair.
They
I don't
typically
think
fit. They
it's-
typically fit. You need like 29 inches. I mean, they've seen them squeeze in, sit side saddle in Brooklyn, going up these little, old. You get the lift company and he'll measure it. He'll tell you if it fits or not, but it should fit. Most should fit.
I
Yeah.
always thought you had to have like a big stair.
Not necessarily.
For
Not
those.
necessarily.
What did one of these cost installed?
Installed about 4. Yeah. Yes, sir.
When you have your toilet set up against the wall somewhere,
Yeah.
how much space should be given to the toilet?
So, we typically like to see people go to a shower chair, roll over it, right? Not make those transfers if you can avoid it. So, minimum 36, minimum, kind of edge to edge.
More on one side than the other, I guess.
It depends. If you're making the transfer over, then yeah, you got to back the chair next to it for your sliding board transfer. But most of the time the bathrooms are small, so we tell you make your transfer onto something that could just roll over the toilet. Because you don't have, it's not a public restroom. It's not the Molly Pitcher rest station, right? It's your house. It's most people don't have 100 square feet in their bathroom, right? Or 150 square feet in their bathroom. So I tell you, go to a shower chair, go, get a push over the toilet, do your business, and then roll off there. Right. So you gotta, Was this helpful?
Yeah.
Did you find value here? Okay.
That-
Good, yeah? Okay, good, I'm glad. So if you want to be a part of, if you would like information when the podcast comes live, just, I don't know where the sign-in sheet went in, but just jot your information down. If you want to see this here, it's all set up. You just kind of, play around and look. Is there any topics that maybe we could consider? Anything come to your mind that you want to hear discussed?
What was this? Nobody,
This
I
is-
mean, didn't get very far.
I
I walked
saw- I
away
did.
out of the room.
This was for the sign up for the podcast.
I signed.
You signed it.
Anybody else?
Everyone good?
I can't write.
Frank, we really appreciate you and Sunny coming tonight.
Great. I'm glad to add value. I know everyone wants to talk and do your things. If you need me, call me.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.